So staying on the geopolitics, the United States has responded to Iranian-backed proxies that have attacked U.S. troops in Syria. Now, we talked about this last week, and we had a little conversation about whether the U.S. should respond or not respond. To summarize, the U.S. has 2,500 troops based in Iraq and 900 troops based in Syria in part of an enduring mission to prevent a resurgence of the Islamic State. You don't really hear about ISIS anymore. They still exist. Technically, they're a ragtag group of guys that are still around doing their thing.
Hating the West,
wanting to destroy the world and make a global Islamic caliphate. There are about 3,000 troops in the Middle East right now, pushing them down as much as they can. Iranian proxies have bombed these U.S. troops. U.S. troops have suffered brain damage. None of them have died, but some of them have traumatic brain injuries. And we talked about whether or not the U.S. should respond. I leaned on they should because Iran needs to know that their proxies need to be kept in line on a short leash and not be able to do that. You feared that it would increase tensions and make worse on the global situation, which I don't really disagree with that.
Just escalate the situation generally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just an escalation.
Yeah. But I'll say openly, I don't know what exact routes of diplomacy might be taken to reduce this.
Yes, exactly right.
And I don't know, like it's scary to think about using diplomatic means with ISIS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like to give them any sort of leash, to treat them like anything but terrorists. That seems wrong as well.
No, I know. It's a hard call, but the United States has made the call. The Department of Defense has shot at least 2 Iranian proxy positions. I have seen reports that it's now 3 as of 1 hour ago, but I can only confirm 2. One of them was a training location that was actually used by Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is the Iranian military. As we know so far, no Iranian troops have been killed. The other one was a weapons stash facility that we destroyed. Defense Secretary General Lloyd Austin said that we won't hesitate to take further necessary measures to protect our people and to do so at a time and place of our choosing. So we are going in strong against Iran. There is no mincing words happening right now. We are intensely opposing any type of proxy attacks on our troops. These militant troops have attacked 50 position, or they have done 50 attacks since October 7th, which is just insane.
Yeah.
We now have the Houthis in Yemen, which have shot down a drone over the Red Sea. So they're getting more agitated and more directly antagonistic with the U.S. And this calls me into question. This raises a larger question. Does Iran have control of their proxies anymore? Did the proxies outgrow the Iranian leash? And I don't know if Iran can rein them in.
I wonder, because I wonder if Iran is looking at the situation in Israel and Gaza right now and thinking tensions are high, and maybe they have an eye on the political situation in the U.S. They see how many people are upset with the killing of tens of thousands of Gazan citizens. And they're saying, look, the U.S. can't really politically afford, and they don't want to escalate the situation, right, anymore. No. They want to de-escalate the situation. So they think maybe that they can take more from the U.S. They can gain more ground, even just in terms of shooting down drones,
right,
attacking facilities in Iraq,
right,
than they might lose by doing so.
Oh, totally. They have a huge incentive to keep doing what they're doing, operating in this gray zone. You know, Iran does not want full-out war with the United States. They are not in a position to win that war. They're in a position to only suffer from that war. And they're definitely in fear that their influence in the Middle East, their Shia influence, right, to combat the Sunni influence of Saudi Arabia would weaken dramatically if they were to get into a war with the United States and lose a lot of their military and economic power.
Yeah, okay.
So they want to keep this Cold War cold. They have no desire to wreck their position, I think, because they know they would lose.
It does make me think, again, what other avenues, what other routes does the U.S. have of exerting some of their power in the region? Can they can they block certain types of goods from entering or leaving these countries? Not life-giving goods like oil and food, right? But other things that they might produce. I don't know the politics or the economics of the region well enough. But I do know that the U.S. has a powerful navy that they could use for those means.
So the U.S. is upping their sanctions on the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They are limiting the ability for these groups to transfer money from Iran into Gaza and sanction a Lebanese money exchange services that has been found to facilitate the transfers of Iran to Palestinian military terrorist groups in Gaza itself. So that is the now step they're taking. This is the third sanction that they've put on them since October 7th. I can't tell you the first two, but this is what I've read. This is the most powerful. So this is definitely cutting off a lot of the Gazan military funding apparatus from Iran.
This is something I'd say I'm in support of.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. Like if you're a liberal who's upset about the treatment of the Palestinians and of the Gazans by Israel and the West and the U.S. being complicit in that, this is exactly the right way for them to fight against Hamas and the associated groups.
Because what this does, this fights against Hamas. This doesn't fight against Palestinians.
Yep.
This fights against Hamas, who is the enemy. The Palestinian people are lovely. They are our brothers and sisters, just like any other race and any other people in any other part of the world. Hamas are the bad guys. They got to be stopped. And this is a good way to do that.